In the late 1990s, a now forgotten player by the name of Teddy Dupay set the high school basketball scene on fire. With his incredible ability to pull up from anywhere on the court, Dupay established himself as a scoring machine, and by the end of his senior season, Teddy had averaged over 40 points per game for an entire year. It was obvious this man was a walking bucket, and years later, after a college career in Florida, a legendary coach would question, why in the world was Teddy Dupay not playing in the NBA? And the answer is going to surprise you, because while you might think it was his height that held Teddy back, that was not the case. Instead, it was a world filled with gambling and crime that would ruin Teddy's career. So what's up guys, Mike here, and today we are going to be talking about Teddy Dupay, a man who can only be described as one of high school basketball's forgotten legends. And honestly, I think I already covered everything you need to know in the intro of this video, so all I have to say is if you do enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like. It helps out so much. You guys have been crushing it with likes, thank you, and for now, let's jump into this video. Teddy Dupay is one of the most decorated high school basketball players the sport has ever seen, because despite being overwhelmingly undersized at a very generous listed height of 5'10", Dupay worked his way up to being a top 20 recruit in the entire nation. And like I previously mentioned in the introduction, Teddy Dupay was not just some big name, he was a legitimate top recruit. As you can see from some of the names on this graphic of the top 20 recruits in the nation, we find multiple NBA players such as Al Harrington, Rashard Lewis, Stromile Swift, Joel Prisbilla, Quentin Richardson, you get it. In high school, Teddy was legit and would even play against these players in the 1998 McDonald's All-American game, and was even named a starter for that game. And against the best competition in high school at the time, Teddy would more than hold his own and finished with 6 assists. And as you can see, Teddy Dupay was a scoring machine from the second he entered high school. As already as a freshman, Dupay put up over 20 points per game. From there, these scoring averages would increase each year until finally, during his senior season, Teddy would average an outrageous 41.5 points a night. In his first game of his senior year, Teddy scored 55 points and left the game in the third quarter. Then, when playing the number 3 ranked team in the entire country, Teddy would drop 49 points on a team that had future NBA All-Stars Tyson Chandler and Tayshaun Prince. And then finally, in a playoff game, Teddy would score a career-high 70 points, including knocking down 13 three-pointers against a team that got embarrassed in Cooper City. And when watching Teddy's game, we can see that in many ways he was ahead of his time, as back in 1998, of course, the three-point explosion had not occurred yet. However, as we can see, Teddy was more than an elite shooter. And on top of his ability to shoot from practically anywhere, in general in high school, Teddy displayed just incredible court awareness. When watching highlights of him, yes, you can see that his shot was lethal, but we could also see that because of his shooting ability, Teddy was often able to blow by defenders on the way to the basket and then finish at the rim. He also had a knack for knocking down very contested jumpers such as this one. And of course, while he was known as a scorer, he was also a phenomenal passer. All of these things are what made Teddy the complete package in high school, and all of these things are also what made many people believe that Teddy had an NBA future. It was this shooting ability and scoring ability in general that led Teddy to finish his career with 3,744 points, and he was also named Mr. Basketball for the state of Florida, which made it fitting that Teddy would commit to the University of Florida before his junior season. With this, he became Billy Donovan's first ever recruit for Florida, and Teddy was also a part of a star-studded recruiting class that also included future NBA players Mike Miller and Udonis Haslem. And because Donovan was a new head coach, in his first 2 seasons coaching the team, Florida would finish both seasons with a losing record. That would change when Teddy arrived, because in 1999, in Teddy's first season, Florida would advance all the way to the Sweet 16, and in the Sweet 16 against Gonzaga, the Gators were up 72-71 when this happened.
Shot clock turned off. Calvary, Hall, 8 to shoot. Hall, the runner, loose ball, it's good with 4.4 to go.
Which was a huge moment for Gonzaga fans, but must have crushed the hearts of Florida fans. And man, I miss March Madness. Regardless of that, Dupay and the Gators would make it all the way back to the NCAA tournament the next season, a season in which Teddy would also make the SEC All-Conference team. And in the first round of the NCAA tournament that year, Butler was actually up on Florida 68-67 with 8.1 seconds left when, after a missed free throw,
1 Gators with a chance to win it. Will Cinderella arrive? Miller in the lane, puts it up. Florida wins.
From there, Florida would eventually advance to the Sweet 16 to play Duke. Now, just a season earlier, Florida had played Duke on the road and lost by 30 points in a 116-86 blowout. This game would be different, and Teddy Dupay would star in a game that featured 8 future NBA players. I say this because fast forwarding, Duke is now up 74-71 with just under 5 minutes remaining when Teddy knocks down an end one over future NBA All-Star Carlos Boozer. This was also Boozer's 5th foul of the game, so this meant he was done for the day. From there, shortly after, Florida would take a 1-point lead when Teddy was fouled on a 3-pointer by Jay Williams, a man who many consider to be one of the greatest college basketball players of all time, as he was National Player of the Year and would go on to become the number 2 pick in the 2002 draft. Teddy would use these free throws to help push the Gators' lead, and ultimately, Florida would end the game on a 13-0 run and pull out an 87-78 victory. Their momentum would also not stop there, as they would make it all the way to the national championship game, where they fell short to Michigan State. Still though, Teddy Dupay was officially on the map now, as he had excelled against a Duke Blue Devils team that would win the national championship the next season. And making his performance even more impressive is that it was later revealed Dupay played the entire 2000 NCAA tournament with a torn rotator cuff. And so at this point, Teddy Dupay was on top of the world. But since we know he never made the NBA, we also have to ask the question, what went wrong? Well, crazily, it was revealed in May of 2001 that Teddy Dupay was linked to a local bookmaker. Dupay would keep his mouth shut about the situation until September 7th of 2001, when Teddy announced he was leaving the Florida Gators before his senior year. And although Teddy was never charged with any crime, this became a very complicated situation when it was revealed that the man who reported Teddy to university police was initially his teammate Brett Nelson. And although there were witnesses against Teddy Dupay, one of which was reported to be Udonis Haslem, no charges would ever be filed against Teddy. And so, switching things up here, because Teddy was unable to play college basketball his senior season, he played in Venezuela during the 2002 season before receiving one last moment to shine. Because on December 12th, 2002, the Louisville Cardinals played in an exhibition game against a team that was made up of a combination of different players from different teams that included Teddy Dupay. Teddy would have the performance of a lifetime, as he made multiple NBA range 3-pointers and received a standing ovation from the Louisville Cardinal fans at halftime. And after this game took place, Rick Pitino would state, quote, "I'm sort of shocked he's not in the NBA because it has nothing to do with his size. Without a question, he is good enough for the NBA. Anybody who has a stroke like that should be playing at the next level." And around the same time, Teddy would play 6 games in the D-League as well, but it was at this point that his life started to fall apart. The low point of his post-playing career was when Dupay was charged with aggravated kidnapping and aggravated sexual assault in June of 2008 in Salt Lake City, Utah. These charges were, of course, very, very serious, and he was even facing life in prison. Teddy would go on to accept a plea bargain and plead guilty to aggravated assault, and the result was a 30-day jail sentence, which seems very light compared to the charges he was facing, but the reason he received only 30 days was that the victim did ask the judge not to send Teddy to jail. Still though, these charges were horrible, and so after being released from jail, Teddy moved back to Florida and looked to turn his life around. And that is exactly what he did. He would begin to start coaching basketball at the youth level, and as of recently, Teddy went to Puerto Rico to host a basketball camp after Hurricane Irma, and he helped raise over $50,000 for the Hurricane Relief Fund. And these days, Teddy is currently a basketball trainer who is in charge of the Teddy Dupay Basketball Academy in Tampa, Florida, and so he seems to be doing well. But you have to think, what if Teddy never allegedly got involved with a bookmaker? If he was allowed to play in his senior season after watching what he did against Louisville, there is a chance that this former high school basketball sensation would have ended up in the NBA. However, due to these allegations and due to the charges that were actually pressed against him, Teddy, of course, never played in the NBA, and I've got to say, if these charges are true, I really do not feel bad for this man at all. And there we have it, guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like. It helps out so much. Also, if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a video. And also, of course, turn on post notifications. Just click the bell right here. That way you are notified whenever a video goes live. Other than that, if you're already subscribed, thank you so much for supporting. You're awesome. We all know it. And as always, have an awesome day, guys, and cue that music.